Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back to the 2014 Baggataway Cup. It's semifinal number 2, the McGill Redmen and the Western Mustangs, to decide who will face the Guelph Griffins in the national championship game tomorrow at 1:30. I am Stephen Stamp, joined by Malcolm Westhaver and Pat Gregoire, our man down on the field, the Aaron Andrews of CUFLA Lacrosse. The players to watch today for the McGill Redmen. Spencer Bromley had a huge season. All-Canadian honors once again. He is a dangerous attack man for these McGill Redmen.
26 goals, 35 points. McGill using more of a scoring by committee offense this year, but Bromley definitely leading the way. He's going to be tough for this Western defense to stop.
On the other side of the field, the man who had the huge game yesterday, scoring the tying and winning goals, 5 goals in total, Kyle Tilderhose, had 13 goals during the regular season, 5 yesterday. What a day he had.
Oh, absolutely phenomenal game. Scoring the game tying goal in overtime when Queens went up, and then the winner to put Western into this semifinal. Big win for them as they were able to knock off the demons of their past in the Queens Gales.
Yeah, Queens had taken them out last year in the quarterfinals in a big comeback. Today, McGill and Western, this is a rematch of a Baggataway Cup final from a couple of years ago. That was a low-scoring game, but offense has been the name of the game this weekend. Do you expect that these teams will keep lighting it up, or the defense is going to come to the fore in this game?
Well, the way the games have been going, you have to say that the offense is going to take control. Western Mustangs shut down teams, but had 16 goals scored against them yesterday by the Queens Gales. That's sort of unheard of in a team like that. And then they put up 17 themselves, 33 goals in a game. That's pretty phenomenal.
I am Stephen Stamp with Malcolm Westhaver, and down on the field is Pat Gregoire. We're going to hear from him now.
Thanks, Stamps. I appreciate you calling me Aaron Andrews instead of calling me Pierre McGuire. Much better comparison, I'd have to say. But we're just about getting ready to get underway down on field here. 2 great teams heading at it. You know, yesterday we saw Western. They really broke out offensively. Before the game, if you would have told me these 2 teams are matching up, I'd be like, you know what? I don't think that Western has the offensive power to match McGill. But fortunately for Western, they broke out big time offensively, and I think we're going to be in for an offensive shootout today. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you back after a commercial break.
We are underway here. We're going to take a look at the starting goaltenders in this matchup as Western comes up with the opening faceoff. There is William Waits, he of the goalie goal earlier in the season, the YouTube sensation.
If you would have saw our opening credit there, you would have saw his goal end-to-end, making a couple moves, actually almost getting laid out at the end, taking a lot of time to get that shot off.
For Western, the All-Canadian, these guys are both All-Canadians in their respective divisions. Zach Grace had a tremendous season. You can see his goals against average, not what you'd expect from him. But he is a very good goaltender as well for Western, who have the ball in the stick of Sam Neeb. They're going to move it around quickly, though. Western moving it back up top to Jesse Gamble.
As you can see, it's with the weather getting colder and rainier, the referees deciding to don all black attire out on the field, so wearing coats and pants instead of their traditional zebra stripes you'd see out there.
Yeah, they've got the CUFLA jackets on to help keep them warm, and it is right now. The wind is still gusting. The rain has stopped as there's a shot by Western. The first of the game doesn't find its way through, though. That one taken by Ryan McCrory, their leading scorer, and they're going to get the ball back.
Great job there by Ham just to box out the McGill defender to let the ball roll out of bounds to make sure that they would get reset of possession.
Brendan McDougall moves it back out to the very top. Here comes Patrick McCrory. Sorry, that's Sam Neeb driving down. He's going to hang on to the ball and take a run behind the net. watched by Connor Goodwin, one of the captains from McGill, and a all-Canadian midfielder. You can see he's from the Curtis Knight School of Midfield, where he's going to play at both ends of the field. He is playing some defense here. He's also one of their leading scorers with 10 goals and 23 assists. Western gets that ball back off the ground. There's a pass through, a little shovel shot. That one stopped, though. The attempt by Kyle O'Donnell to put that one in, and here comes McGill back the other way. Let's go down to Pat Gregoire on field level.
Yeah, guys, already a lot of offensive chances for Western early. Like I said yesterday, they're a much different team that they were than last year. Moving the ball around, sitting on it, but when they get those chances, they take a lot. Also, another player to look for on the defensive side for McGill, 00 Danny McDermott. He's a standout defender. It's going to be interesting to see the matchup between him and McCrory. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Danny McDermott was a star, an all-star at the World Under-19 Championships a few years ago, playing for Canada, and was a candidate for their team this summer that won gold of the Worlds. There's Jesse Gamble coming up with the ball after the shot went on the outside of the net.
And speaking of Team Canada that won the gold this year, Jesse Gamble, a member of that team. So that's a big help on this Western Mustangs offense. You saw yesterday, he drove a lot, creating a lot of open space for other guys to get shots off.
You're going to pass the ball down, moving it with Ryan Miles. He's going to come back out top, up to Gamble. Gamble, a defensive player in the National Lacrosse League and in Major Series Lacrosse, but he played midfield for Canada, and he was an offensive player a lot of the way up through junior and actually starting his senior career. So he showed yesterday he's still got the chops to score. There's a pass right onto the crease. What a save. No, it's a goal. Tucked in by Alex Rohrbach. He just gets the pass right on top of the crease, on the side of the crease, and just tucks it past the feet of Zach Grace.
Yeah, Grace very close to getting that. As you saw, I almost thought it was a save, but Rohrbach able to slide it in. Another captain on the McGill team. Third in scoring for the team, 29 points overall, 18 of those being goals. So he knows how to find the back of the net. As you can see here, just while he's falling down, getting enough time to get that shot off and get it past Grace. And McGill's going to take the early lead here, 1-0.
Possession back with the Western Mustangs in their own end. Grace takes the pass from Matt Spanger, one of the another All-Canadian on this Western team. They clear the ball up into the offensive zone.
Speaking of All-Canadians, you look at that McGill Redmen roster, almost sweeping the East Division. 7 All-Canadians on their team alone, with an honorable mention as well. Western on the other side only boasting 3, but all on the defensive side of the ball, trying to definitely good at locking things down.
Western showed yesterday they can score as well, as they put in 17 goals, including the 2 in overtime. They're moving it around patiently now, taking their time. Jordy Jones-Smith dishes it off to McCrory. Ryan McCrory makes the pass in onto the crease. And Dylan Ham, his shot goes high over the net. McGill is yelling that it was a pass, but it was a shot. It was just that Ham was hit as he tried to release it. They come back to the top. Ryan Miles with the ball.
You're saying, Matt, this is a rematch of 2 years ago, Baggataway Cup. That game going to overtime. So last time these two teams have met each other, it went right down the wire. Hopefully we can see that happen again today.
Of course, the teams in different divisions do not play each other in the regular season. There's a pass that gets away, but it is tracked down by Brendan McDougall. McDougall will give it up top. Jordy Jones-Smith once again. He goes to Jordan Pratt. Jordan Tripp. Tripp with a couple of big goals for Western in yesterday's game, including one late. William Waich has the ball.
Western had points holding 4 and 5 goal leads against the Queen Gales. That team just had a never say die attitude yesterday. And look at McGill quickly moving the ball now up with a long pole on attack.
Into the transition, the shot by the long pole, and he scores. You gotta love that little bonus offense coming from the back end, and Quentin Bradley, another All-Canadian on that McGill roster.
Absolute beautiful goal. When you get the long poles, get up on an offense. Whenever they get an opportunity, they're going to want to look to shoot as they can get all that extra torque onto their stick. Nice pass over to draw the slide, and then a hard shot coming from up top. That goal actually reminded me very similar of watching Duke Lacrosse when they won a couple years ago and they had a long pole score. Sort of not off the face-off like they did, but a similar type shot.
McGill coming up with the ball off the face-off. They almost throw it away, but it's tracked down. They're going to head up into the offensive zone. Connor Goodwin coming up with the ball there. Let's go down to Pat Gregoire at field level.
Yeah, that was a beautiful back check by Matt Spanger. I mentioned Danny McDermott on the other side. He's another defensive player that you should be looking out for, number 45 in white. Big body with the blonde hair flowing out of the back of his bucket. He was outstanding yesterday, working both sides of the ball, getting involved in the offense and becoming a shutdown defender as well. So make sure you look out for Spanger for the Western Mustangs. Back to you guys.
Yeah, great point, Pat. Spanger is an excellent defender, but very quick as well. He's a big guy, gets those legs going. The long strides carry him up the floor very well. Here's Dylan Ham behind the net. He's going to try and move the ball. Jesse Gamble takes the pass. He's watched by the long pole high up the field. Now he's sliding down, gets a short pole on him, but he passes it off. McCrory trying to roll out. McDermott on him, keeping him to the outside. Nice help, stripping the ball away, but it's going to go to, actually it's going to be McGill coming up with it. Maybe, no, it's going to bounce away. Unfortunately for the Redmen from Bradley Hoffman. Western will get possession once again.
And just a little too far out of his stick and unable to scoop it up as it goes out of bounds.
Western setting things up in behind the net. Ball is stripped. Hoffman gets it away from McDougall, but McDougall gets it back, and then it's once again out of his stick.
You can, if you look at the benches on the far side, two very distinct formations that the two teams are sort of using there, as Western brought a tent with them today. So you see more players sort of huddling up around one area for Western, whereas McGill, they're doing what seemed like Queens was doing last night, going down a straight line, everybody getting a view of the game and getting ready to go.
Goodwin with the ball behind, or Alex Rohrbach with the ball behind the net. He's going to throw it up top. That will go to Goodwin. He switches hands. Pass it over to Emile Sassone-Lawless. Sassone-Lawless has the ball stripped away from him. It's Jake Kranz, who had a great game yesterday, but Sassone-Lawless knocks it loose and McGill gets the ball back. Sassone-Lawless and Kranz still tangled up over on the far side. We're going to have Western possession.
Two guys getting tangled up there. I guess referee saying that the Redmen player is sort of holding Sassone-Lawless down and not letting him get back up.
Ball will start with Matt Spanger. A little pressure on the ride from Spencer Bromley, our player to watch. He had the 26 goals this year. Ryan McCrory Dylan Ham led the Western Mustangs in goals with 22. There's Spanger going for a run, using those wheels to take it up over center. He's just going to roll it over to Ham.
Used a nice little fake there to get his defender to bite up high and just get that roll pass underneath.
Sam Neeb with the lob pass to the back. Waits gets a bit of it, then just whacks it over toward Dana McDermott, who's going to track it down, gets there, using that long pole. The pass over, and Waits had to just get that ball, get between the ball and Dylan Ham, or he was going to have a wide open net to shoot at. That pass will get away, and it's going to be Redmen ball.
No one sort of in the vicinity there for that Western pass. Is it definitely some miscommunication on their offense there, and it's going to give McGill an opportunity to get this ball back and continue on their 2-0 lead they got.
McGill definitely looking to get back to the championship. They last year faced Queens and just overwhelmed the Gales in the semifinal. You can't expect them to do that against Western, but McGill did show they can be a fine-tuned machine with real hybrid, as they talk about, of Canadians and Americans. About half the roster does hail from the United States. They've got 7 players from British Columbia, so quite an eclectic mix on this Redmen club.
That mix definitely gives them a distinct advantage over a lot of these other teams in the CUFLA, as a lot of their American players play field lacrosse their entire life. It's showing right there a goal for the McGill Redmen, now up 3-0.
Reese Burnell getting the pass and releasing quickly with a slide coming and closing on him, and Burnell just fires it.
A beautiful goal there, as that you're saying, that slide coming, hitting him in the end, but able to get that shot off right before, as we're going to see here. Nice job by the other attackman to slide that pass off, get it up to Bromley. Bromley able to find it underneath, and you can see taking a hit to make a shot. Teammates always love that when they see those kind of plays.
Yeah, he's flattened by Brent Robinson, but not in time to prevent him from making it 3-0 for McGill. Another battle for the loose ball. It's going to be Western coming up with it once again. They've really controlled the plays off the faceoffs. Chris Maderi taking the draws today for the McGill Redmen. There's Spencer Bromley with the ball. It's knocked loose by Kranz. Now Kranz has it down between his legs. Spanger shoves Bromley out of the way, but Bromley slips back in and comes up with the ball. Spanger tracking him down, trying to get a stick to stick. He's down. We're going to have a penalty after Spanger slashed Bromley while he was on the ground.
A little bit of extra love there. Referee's not taking too kindly to that, and we're going to see McGill go to the power play. If you watched our game earlier today, we saw Guelph Griffins take no minor penalties, and that was the big difference in that one there, as they were able to take advantage of many Brock penalties and win that game.
Ball back out up top. Connor Goodwin with it. There comes back up. There's a shot and a goal. A little sidearm snipe by Anders Biela.
McGill Redmen just rolling right now early in this game, 4-0. As you're going to see this beautiful shot on the replay here in a second just find its way to the top shelf. A few of these shots we've seen today just seem to have eyes on them, as they get right underneath that crossbar. As this pass is going to come down from underneath, the Western defense just not able to slide up in time and get that quick rip. And now 4-0 McGill. If you followed CUFLA the last few years, McGill is riding in the last 3 seasons, only 2 losses total regular season and playoff. Pretty impressive to see.
Well, they've just created a program that is so consistent and so competitive. Competitive within the program. These guys battling for playing time, battling for spots on the roster. A lot of guys seeing it as an alternative or a follow-up to an NCAA career. McGill, a great school, as is Western, of course. But, McGill with a really sterling reputation, and they're building the same kind of reputation that their academics have on the lacrosse field.
Well, most definitely. I see McGill quite often, and they are able to recruit a lot of players that my old squad tries to get as well. A lot of competition between the two.
Malcolm Westhaver, of course, a former Bishop's Gator. Still a student there, just unable to play because of injury, and sticking around the team, still highly involved in the game. We appreciate having him on board, along with Pat Gregoire, who's down on field level. Zach Grace has the ball. He's making the methodical clear, coming over to Jake Kranz. Kranz looked like he was going to go for a run, but his access was cut off by Spencer Bromley. He gets the pass over to Gamble, though.
Nice fake there by Gamble to get his defender to bite the wrong way and get across field and be completely wide open, or McGill would have been offside.
He couldn't do that in the United States.
Dylan Ham takes the long pass in behind the net.
Yeah, Western's got 2 guys who are going to play.
Wind looks like it's kind of changed direction. I think it's actually blowing on our left to right. The previous game was definitely going right to left on the broadcast. And now seems to, it's spun around and it's going from the left to the right. So, see, it's definitely still blowing pretty hard. Luckily, the rain is holding off for now. Here's Sam Neeb bouncing one through, and Western is on the board as Neeb makes like Curtis Knight just sliding down the far side of the slot and just tucking one past the foot of William Waite.
If you were watching the game earlier tonight, you're saying that you could have seen that Curtis Knight exact same type of goal. Put a red jersey on that, and it is exactly the same. Driving down the alley, and even with the defender on top of him, able to get that shot off. See, switch his hands to get a little bit of space, and the second he feels that he's got the shot opportunity, he gets it off.
Let's send it down to Pat Gregoire.
Yeah, that's a big, huge goal for the Western Mustangs. They got to start creating offense from the midfield up top. The McGill long poles down close defenders are doing way too good of a job trying to take away their playmakers. So it's got to be the midfielders that are going to start creating the penalties, and we've got a little bit of a penalty situation here that we're going to figure out.
We have a couple of flags on the play. We'll see whether they're for the same foul or if we have a pair of fouls. One Redmen player is sitting in the penalty area so far. Now a Mustang takes his spot as well. So it'll be Jake Kranz. And it looks like Jake Gutman. Unsportsmanlike conduct, a minute apiece. Western will start with the ball. I'll tell you, the one difference in Neeb's goal versus Knight's is that Knight, being on his offside, actually had natural protection from the defender, whereas Neeb, with the left-hand shot over on the right wing, had his stick more accessible to the defender, so you really had to protect it even more carefully than Knight did, and did a great job of it.
Oh, absolutely great job doing that. With most Canadian players, they develop the one side first with the box game. So a lot of these guys they have their side they want to shoot from, they want to go there, but in field lacrosse, you got to be able to switch hands and shoot from either side if you're going to be an effective goal scorer.
Jesse Gamble driving down. He's going to let it rip. Save by Waite. We saw Gamble create some chances yesterday with that kind of drive. Here comes McGill back up the other way. Their long poles. They've got two long poles as McDermott takes the pass up in the offensive zone. There's the pass to the other one. There's a shot by Quentin Bradley. So Bradley and McDermott not shy about heading up together and playing a little catch before they get a shot off.
Oh, no, while watching McGill over the time, Bradley coming normally as LSM always doesn't mind jumping in the offense, and McGill has full trust in McDermott whenever he has the ball. They think he can go up against another long pole at times and make some moves himself.
McDermott, a very smart player, brings that high lacrosse IQ to the field.
It's one advantage McGill has had over the last few years. Last year, having Kyle Donovan come up and play for them, being a player coach on their roster, really helping their offense out.
Anders Biela comes out. He's picked up by Kranz and Gamble. That one's scooped by Spanger as it gets away from Alex Rohrback, and here comes Spanger all the way up the field. He's actually going to cut towards the net after passing it off. Jesse Gamble will bounce one past the net, and it's going to be Western ball as they had a couple players back near the back line.
One thing I've noticed very early about this McGill team compared to what Queens did is they're giving Gamble a little more room, not drawing as many double or triple teams that created Gamble some great passing opportunities in the last game.
And I think they feel comfortable in that because they know their gut long poles can cover the offensive, the attackmen so well that it's not going to give them the draw and dish options for whoever is covering them. We're into the final 30 seconds here of the first quarter. It's gone very quickly. McGill leading 4-1. We're down to the final 18 seconds. Again, the players on the field don't know exactly how long is left. Ham has the ball. He's got Neeb behind the net, but he's going to try and make the pass out front. Maybe forced it a bit. It's going to give the McGill Redmen a chance. Gamble has run over there. But that will do it for the first quarter. And Jesse Campbell, just before the quarter ends, takes a big hit from Alex Lacaz. Lacaz gets a warm, rousing welcome at his bench for laying the big hit on Gamble.
Oh, yeah, it's always big hits can change momentum just as much as big goals, big saves, things like that get your team riled up can make a big difference, especially something late like that where McGill has the momentum heading into this second quarter.
We're going to take a break before the second quarter of play. I'm Stephen Stamp with Malcolm Westhaver and Pat Gregoire bringing you this JVI Video Productions presentation of the Baggataway Cup 2014. Welcome back, lacrosse friends, to the 2014 Baggataway Cup. 4-1 for the McGill Redmen over the Western Mustangs after 1 quarter of play. We enter the second 20 minutes. McCrory knocks the face-off ahead to himself, but then flings it back where it's picked up eventually by Matt Spanger. He's got those long blonde locks flowing as he runs up the field.
Seems like Western's is using Spanger as like a stay-at-home D, but also then swinging him up on the face-offs because they know he can get those loose balls and get a good offensive possession started for the Mustangs.
His pass skips away from Brendan McDougall, and it's McGill possession. Redmen again using the long pole to move the ball up the field. This time it's Paul Riccozzi who gets the ball up to into the offensive zone. Moving it to the stick of Anders Biela. Biela comes back up to the top to Sassoon Lawless. You can see those jerseys just rippling in the wind. As they move it back to Rohrbach. Go ahead.
Makes you happy we're up here in this warm booth and compared to down on field level where it might be a little extra windy for our on-field reporter.
There's a shot and a goal by Emil Sassoon Lawless. Goes for a bit of a jump shot and sneaks it past the body of Zach Grace to make it 5-1.
Zach Grace, sort of uncharacteristic, the amount of goals that have gone in on him in the last 2 days. But you saw what that extra little jump got off here, was able to get some more momentum and get that just underneath the stick of Grace as he was sliding down. Definitely the harder side to score on, as that is Grace's stick side. You're going to see a very nice move, switch hand. McGill, with their vast American players, most of their guys can play both hands completely evenly. There's no sort of one hand or another with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. No, it just the amount of switching you do, and the interesting thing, I think, you see a lot of players will switch just for the sake of switching at times, but it's when you can switch and be effective like that, like Emil Sassoon Lawless just did with that, showing that he can shoot with the left hand or the right hand, and buried that one just past the shoulder of Zach Grace.
Oh, yeah, over the years, McGill, the scouting report always going in is you can't play a guy to one side or another. You have to play them on the proper way. When you play other teams, though, sometimes you bite really hard to one side or another to give them their bad hand and take away their good side.
Alex Rohrbach reverses directions, knocked down by Spanger. He's going to go after Spanger, who just rolls it to his goaltender. Grace will run out of the crease and then lob it ahead. Ryan Miles is going to go back to his keeper. Now some pressure coming from Reese Burnell. He's going to try and force Spanger, but they just don't have the numbers to put pressure on all 4 of the Western players in their own zone.
Both these goaltenders are willing to cross half and create some offense. We saw that yesterday with Grace. And if you've seen the highlight videos, Wakes has got one of the biggest highlight reel goals you'll see as a goaltender going from end to end.
Western setting up in the offensive zone, trying to overcome this 5-1 deficit. They get the ball back to Neeb. Gamble tries to pass it down. That one doesn't connect with McCrory. Everybody fighting for it. McDermott clears a body out of the way, and it's scooped up by the Redmen. They head up the field, putting some pressure on. It's going to be a shot and a goal going all the way from picking it up out of that scrum to driving down and putting the ball in the net for the McGill Redmen. Jack Stewart played 9 games this year, had 0 goals. That is a big time to get your first goal of the year.
What a time to put one up. Put your team up 6-1 in the Baggataway Cup semifinals. So we're going to see this nice run. Just a fast break, and the Western Mustangs is not able to catch him from behind or make that slide in time. He gets that shot off just in time. McGill, good job today on that. I've noticed they've taken a few big hits to get the shots off that they want.
That ball gets away, and Western takes possession. Let's go down to Pat Gregoire on the field.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that was his first goal of the year, Jack Stewart. bearing that big, timely goal. Even head coach Tim Murdoch was jumping up and said, "Oh my God, Jack just scored!" So and he came along to the sidelines, and the bench absolutely just mauled him. So that's going to really bring up the morale for the team, if it could even come any higher. Back to you guys.
Well, with a 6-1 lead, obviously morale pretty good along the Redmen sideline. But yeah, it's they've scored plenty of goals this year. So for a guy who hasn't got one to get one is a pretty exciting moment for them.
Always a huge thing when you get a guy who's not normally known for scoring, puts one in, relieves a little bit of pressure on your goal scorers, being like, okay, we got an extra one here now from somebody else. We got our lead. Let's see what we can do and keep building on this.
Gamble tries to go one-on-one with Bradley, who turns him aside. He's going to throw it behind the goal line extended. Comes back up to Gamble. Neeb with the ball. He's watched by Bradley. Bradley well out high in the zone, trying to keep Neeb to the outside. His shot goes wide of the net. Western in position to retain possession.
That shot definitely coming from a very hard angle for Neeb there. If he was going to get it on net, it was going to be a very, very good shot.
Ball comes back up to Gamble. He'll try and create, driving down on Goodwin. Makes the pass in low. We have a crease violation by the Mustangs. And the Redmen will get possession. Going to start over along the sidewall. Long pass across the field. Bounces off the stick. And a big hit.
Possession call going to go against the Mustangs, so it's going to be Redmond ball here when they blow it in.
Western thought they'd gotten that one. Devin DeLangley with a big hit, but was determined that it was a loose ball foul. I thought it was a pretty nice play.
I agree so too. Haven't actually the whole weekend we haven't really questioned any of the calls from these referees. They've done quite a good job on pretty much, especially seeing some things that coaches freaked out about. We watching the replay, and we've been noticing they've been doing a very good job.
Yeah, they have had a very sharp weekend.
That's always something you want to see here at the national championships. You never want to see the referees determine how the game goes. You want the teams to win and lose themselves.
Goodwin drives down the alley, shoots, saved by Grace, comes straight back out to Goodwin. He's got Rohrbach with him. They'll switch positions now as Rohrbach rolls up into the slot. Rohrbach turns, Matt Spanger watching him as Goodwin comes out. Sassone Lawless with it. He's going to move the ball back down low. Burnell gets it over to Rohrbach. McGill cycling the ball around the far outside. Gamble applying some pressure. Biella switches hands. He's got Gamble on him, trying to work his way down. He's just going to give that one up and go back out to Sassone Lawless.
This first half just seems to be flying by. No real whistles going on out here as McGill taking very, very long offensive possessions.
And you can afford to be patient when you've already got a 6-1 lead. Spanger just rolls it casually back to Zach Grace. Very composed play by Spanger. Interesting because he's a guy who's all about energy, a high energy player, uses his speed, some crashing, and but he can also make that simple little play that depends more on poise than rambunctiousness.
Sometimes the KISS system works in sports. If you never heard of that, the keep it simple, stupid, it tends to, if all else fails, just go back to that and you'll normally find some success.
Jordy Jones-Smith with the ball. He's spied by Dan Williams, another one of these very solid McGill long poles. Jordan Tripp with the ball, but he throws it away. It's Redmond possession.
Tripp yesterday had some big offensive possessions for that Western team, especially at key moments in the game, setting up a couple big goals for that team to eventually knock off the Gales. And as we keep saying, one of the most exciting games we've seen here at the Baggataway Cup.
McGill's a pretty high-scoring team, but as we've seen today, and their coach Tim Murdoch likes to stress, they are built around defense first. And so much of what they do comes from locking off those attack players with their long poles and forcing the midfielders to try and create something and being ready to push the ball back up the other way.
And with most teams, especially in the CUFLA, you have your top offensive guys in your attack roles, but the way McGill's playing, just shutting these guys down, we're going to have to see if Western can find some offense coming from their middies. They were able to do so yesterday, though, with, again, 17 goals.
Leland DeLangley with the ball in behind the net. He's going to roll out. It's a bit of a push. Gets his balance back, though, after looking to loose it a little bit. Comes out to Rufus Frost. Frost across to the far side. Alex Linton holding on to it. That pass knocked down. Nice stick. Active stick there to tap it away and head back up the field.
Mustangs D in the last little while very good at just knocking things down, letting McGill play on the outside, but once they come to the middle, getting it back in their own sticks, and now trying to work it back up.
That was Ryan Miles that time who knocked it free. Now the Mustangs move it up into the offensive zone. Sam Neeb with the run. Passes it over, but passing up the shot was Devin DeLangley. He's just going to hold on to the ball for a bit. Now they move it in the back to McCrory. Back to DeLangley.
Mustangs.
Western taking their time. Now Neeb tries to drive down, pass into the X. Hits the cutter. Quick release with a save by Waite.
You could hear from the bench side screaming there when Neeb had the ball from McGill. All left, saying that he's gonna go on his left side, so force him back to his right.
McGill taking their time, getting some players on and off, getting the roster they want on the field. Again, being patient, coming up top. Anders Biela is going to drive down, trying to get away from Gamble, who stays with him. Biela gives the ball up over to Goodwin.
Just complete all these McGill Redmen. Every time they switch in hands, every single player on the squad able to go out there and do that.
There's a goal for the Redmen once again to Emile Sasson-Lawless.
Absolutely gorgeous there. Cut back down, looked like he may have been going behind the net. Catches defender off guard, can quickly change his plane, coming back towards the net and getting a hard rip-off. I got a couple goals going in now. I've noticed on Zach Grace's stick side, they're finding it just underneath his stick, right around his knee level, and they're able to bury. We're going to get to see it on the replay here. As you see, he just cuts one way. It looks like he's going down, changes his plane just enough to get it just past the goaltender, Grace. As you see Coach Murdoch there jumping for joy after that 7-1 lead. Still lots of time left to play, though. 6.5 minutes in this half alone.
Yeah, but, 6-goal deficit is a tough one to overcome. And, Western needs to turn things around fairly soon. They can't let themselves get any further behind here. And Western just really being outplayed in all facets of the game so far.
Absolutely. Right now, we're saying 6 goals. That's the biggest lead we've seen in any game so far this weekend. Biggest one before, I believe 5 goals Western had over Queens, which they relinquished before overtime, but still able to sneak it through in the end. But 6 goals, definitely a lot against this defensive first team in the McGill Redmen.
Ball comes back up top to Rufus Frost, who fires it across. Again, a lot of hand switching going on by Alex Linton. Frost is going to let one fly. And a lot of these McGill guys who aren't getting the big attention, they're sort of the second-level players, are guys who are going to be leaders for this team in the future. As you see that McGill just has that process going. They've got it going as a factory where guys come in, have to fight to earn their playing time, and then become the big names who drive the offense.
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest key for your program, and it's sort of as you see a lot of the programs that are here this weekend. That happens as this is the exact same 6 teams that were represented just last year, and 5 of the same 6 teams that were represented 2 years ago when it was in Peterborough. So it's these same teams can continue to build their programs, continue to get good players in, and their continued success is shown here.
Spanger lobs it back over to Grace. It's going to come up to Jake Kranz, who's open. Spencer Bromley tries to put some pressure on. He's going to go take a little bit of a break after his sprint. Western coming from behind the net. Go back in behind to Ham, who comes out to McCrory. Up top. Western now taking their turn to move around patiently around the field.
Western doesn't seem like they're too phased by this 6-goal deficit. They want to run their game plan.
Great slide help as Brendan McDougall tried to slip out from behind the goal line and just had nowhere to go. Here's Jordy Jones-Smith. He's going to throw it down into the corner to Ham.
Jones-Smith, the one All-Canadian or honorable mention on the offensive side of the ball there for the Western Mustangs.
Nice little underhand lob pass there by Jake Kranz to move the ball up into the offensive zone into the stick of Brendan McDougall. He gets the pass back from Neeb. Sorry, from Dylan Ham, 25, not 24. Now comes up to Jones-Smith.
You can just see that defender, the way he was standing, telling Jones-Smith, you're going down the alley on the bench side. You're not coming across the field and getting to go down your good side to get a clear shot.
McDermott in wide open space. The ball comes right to him. He just waits patiently for it to land in his stick and then jogs up the field. I say jogs, but he's actually covering quite a bit of space. He just looks very relaxed as he runs. Now McDermott down to goal line extended. He's going to give it up, and he will head back to his position. Sets a pick on the way there.
That was very similar. That was almost a box-type pick as he was directly on top of his man there when that one happened.
McGill again being methodical. We're into the final 3 minutes of the first half. They hold a 7-1 lead. Sassone Lawless goes back to Biella. Back to Sassone Lawless. Jordan Tripp trying to cover him.
Off the crossbar, that shot goes and wide. But you notice with, as we were saying, they like to switch hands a lot, McGill. So Saul Lawless, one of the few, though, that likes to stay really with one of his hands and not switch over to the other one, really favoring his right side.
Western has taken a timeout with 2:21 to play here in the first half. They're going to see if they can't try and get things turned around, get a little momentum in the second, going before the second half.
They're not going to be able to cover this whole 6-goal deficit before this half ends, but maybe 1 or 2 just to get the momentum in their favor. And so we're going to send it down to the field with Pat Glegrock.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Western just struggling to get anything offensively going. First quarter, a couple offensive possessions, they were able to get a couple chances, but since then, it almost seems like they're fighting the ball, really struggling, dropping passes, catching. Maybe the weather's a little bit of an effect. Doesn't really matter at this point. This is the semifinals of the Baggataway Cup. Big-time players need to start stepping up. Back to you guys.
Yeah, no, good point, Pat. The Mustang players, obviously very solid group of players, just not having their best game today so far. Let us know who you think should be the players of the game for McGill and for Western. That would be MCG, POG, and Westpog for Western. Use the Twitter handle at JVI Video, and there are the hashtags. Let us know who you think should be the players of the game.
Could be anybody here right now on the McGill side. Offensively and defensively, you're looking at players, goaltender William Walsh, not a lot of saves, but making the key ones when it comes through. McDermott getting up, and even you got Quentin Bradley Longpole getting a goal here today. So lots of options on the McGill side. Western on the others, a little bit more they have to fight. And you can see a pulled goaltender right now for the Western Mustangs to start this off.
Wow, very bold move. And it's going to backfire. McGill will just go in, and Connor Goodwin flings the ball into the empty net, and it's 8-1.
That's sort of a risky play to run this early in the game. You sort of don't see that until the fourth quarter, or maybe in the last 30 seconds of a quarter or something like that, just for a quick press. But the double team not working at all for the Western Mustangs, as we're going to get to see the replay here, as Goodwin just burns right by his double team and has a clear shot to the net, just walking right in and getting an easy goal.
8-1 now as we're into the final 2 minutes. Mederi lining up with McCrory. Actually, that's not McCrory taking it for Western this time. They will slip in Ryan Nolan. He is their secondary face-off guy. A couple of flags down on the play. As that pass skips away, play will be blown down. And Ryan Nolan will head to the penalty bench.
Looks like the Mustangs now just getting frustrated, down 7 goals. Can't let it get to them. Still lots of time to be played. And they're going to give a legal body check to Matt Spanger. So that's a big loss for them there, as he's definitely their top defenseman so far.
Into the final minute of play here. As mentioned, it is Spanger. There are 40 seconds to go. It is Spanger who has the penalty. McGill will try to extend their 8-1 lead.
This could be this right here. If they can get a goal in these final 30 seconds, just absolute huge momentum taker, which they already have full control of, and they're not going to give Western any real hope.
Hard shot by Connor Goodwin comes flying all the way back out to center off the iron. It's going to get out of bounds before McGill can get to it, so Western will have possession with just about 8 seconds left to go. That'll actually do it for the half, yeah.
Yeah, that play there, though, actually, that was one of those weird ones that's a shot out of bounds in a place where two guys are not normally used to just having to sprint and get it. But at the half, 8-1 for the McGill Redmen.
Certainly doesn't look very promising for the Western Mustangs as they trot off the field. McGill, meanwhile, feeling pretty celebratory already here at the halftime. So we will take a break for halftime. I am Stephen Stamp with Malcolm Westhaver and Pat Gregoire, bringing you this JVI Sports Network presentation of the 2014 Baggataway Cup Final. Take a break, come back and join us for the second half. to the second semifinal of the 2014 Baggataway Cup. I'm Stephen Stamp with Malcolm Westhaver, and it is 8-1 for the McGill Redmen. They are all over the Western Mustangs at the half. And one thing we've noticed, actually, it was pointed out to Malcolm by one of the fans, Kyle Childerhose has not been on the field for a while. Someone said they saw him land awkwardly and turn his ankle early in the game. And we're going to wonder if he's going to be out there and how much difference he could make if he could help.
Oh, that would be a big loss for these Western Mustangs. Childerhose 2 overtime goals yesterday, 1 to tie it up and 1 to win the game for those Western Mustangs. But not out there at all, and it's been all McGill Redmen so far, 8-1 after this first half. McGill being balanced, scoring 4 goals in each of the quarters so far today, and definitely looking to book their ticket back into the Baggataway Cup for a rematch of last year's with the Guelph Griffins.
We are back underway in this second half. The third quarter has started, and Western has possession of the ball in their own end. And obviously, you can't like the Mustangs' chances of coming back, but if they're going to do it, what they've got to do is not try and score 7 goals all at once. Obviously, they've got to do it the way they are now. Be patient, be smart, take your time, and just get a goal at a time.
You want to look to a perfect example, that Queens Gales last night.
Yep.
Down 5 goals. They never changed their game plan. They ran the same plays until they worked, and that's what Western has to do. They can't get out of their game plan. They've been running the same systems all season long. You can't just change it up now in the championships.
You just have to execute them better than you have been so far. Jordy Jones-Smith will give the ball off. Here's a drive. Ryan Miles is going to change directions. There's McCrory throwing it all the way back to Jones-Smith. Jones-Smith turned aside by a pair of McGill defenders. Dylan Ham brings it on the near side. Ryan McDougall. Sorry, Devin DeLangley that was. Giving the ball. Western taking their time. Again, it's a fine line between patience and taking too long. I mean, you do want to keep attacking the net, and but McGill just giving them very little chance to get towards the goal.
McGill doing a great job on the defensive side. You're saying they may be an offensive powerhouse, but they pride their defense first and making sure the teams don't score goals against them.
Obviously, one of the big critical factors is communication. You can see McGill talks very well. They know where each other are going. And there's a nice little play. Just a tap by Quentin Bradley to get the ball over to one of his teammates. And now they move the ball up. Paul Riccozzi bringing it up into the offensive zone. He's going to give it off and get back to his defensive position. Spencer Bromley passes it off.
One of the big things noticing as well, too, McGill getting all, like you're saying, just the little things done out there on the field. The thing, the extra little things that help you win, that little poke here, extra run, the extra effort, definitely showing up for the McGill Redmen right now.
Now there's no real impetus for them to move quickly towards the net. They can just circle around the field.
And knowing Coach Murdoch, at times he'll be willing to do that if that means getting a win.
Let's go down to Pat Gregoire down on the field. I believe he's got something to add.
Hey, thanks, guys. Not the greatest first half for Western. They're really going to have to get something going offensively. Like I said at the start of the game, I said I didn't think that they'd be able to put up the offense to stay with them, but after watching last night, I would. I'm starting to go back on the other, and there you go, McGill putting on another one. This McGill offense just might be too powerful for the Western team to stick with. Back to you guys.
Anders Biela once again, his second goal of the game. And that's just a nice shot by Biela, dropping down and ripping that sidearm.
Yeah, right off the post when you see it here. Grace having no real chance to get at it. Waiting for the replay here, as you're going to get to see. Nice pass. That's the shot from Biela. Oh,
that's a great angle to see. He had very little space to put that in. That's just a beautiful shot.
That was, like you said, there was no that space is probably just the size of a lacrosse ball to get in there. And Grace has had 15 goals scored against him. Sorry, not 15, 25 goals scored against him in the last 2 games alone. His goals against average from the regular season at 6.6, and the CUFLA West All-Canadian goaltender. So something he's not going to be too happy about.
Very unusual for him. Western trailing 9-1. They move the ball down into the offensive zone. Neeb passes it back over.
If you look when we pan by the Western bench, you can actually see the backup goaltender taking some shots now over there. Maybe a sign of something to come, as Western's going to have to try to do something maybe a little different, shake things up to get back into this.
Yeah, it's a good point. As you notice that, it's Michael Brown warming up over on the far sidelines. There you see him in the picture-in-picture on the sideline, just getting prepared, taking some shots, getting himself ready to go if they need him. Sometimes it's like switching up the goalie in hockey or switching quarterbacks when things just aren't working. In football, you just got to try and, like you said, shake things up and just try something different. Whatever you're doing right now isn't working.
You sometimes see when the backup goalie comes in, the team starts to play actually a little better because they want to do better for this guy back there. Normally because they sometimes put too much pressure on their starting goalie to do things for them, and then when the backup comes in, they take it upon themselves.
Leland DeLangley with the ball. We were wondering actually late in the first half if he was playing because we hadn't seen much of him. He's a very solid player for them, but he only played 4 games in the season, but he is out there now. McGill swinging around. Leland DeLangley gets flattened. Goes to Gamble. Gamble tries a swim move, somehow comes out with the ball and emerges from a pack of 4 red jerseys with the ball. Lobs it over to the far side. McCrory catches it. He's got McDermott on him. Hard pass across the shot. What a save by Waite.
A big save for him coming there, as he's definitely a little bit colder.